This is the topical knowledge video for Module 6, focusing on project design and documentation services. This starts the beginning of the second module grouping, the project and process context. Modules 6, 7, 9, and 10 will examine how professional practice looks from the somewhat different perspective of starting up, working on, and completing projects, covering the actual tasks that we do and some of the issues that we struggle with. Whereas in the previous modules, the major roles that shaped the societal and legal context and its perspective were taken on by society, the public, the legal system, and the architect. In modules 6, 7, 9, and 10, the major roles that shape the project context and its perspectives are taken on by the client, the users, the constructor, and the architect. Module 6 establishes a baseline perspective of the project process, outlining the core or essential tasks that sequences of pre-construction phases of a project, adding detail and context to the short legalistic summaries we saw in the contract last week. Module 6 focuses especially on the logic of the project process that arranges these tasks in the way that it does. In a later module, we'll discuss different delivery methods as process overlays to the baseline perspective outlined this week, which reorders and reassigns some of those core tasks for reasons that we'll discuss. The ordering of topics is meant to emphasize the continuity of the architect's thought process and information development processes across the project phases, and the logic of the project process as opposed to simply seeing the phases as a discrete set of tasks based on the traditional design, bid, build, delivery method. In the AIA text, reference is made to this traditional design, bid, build method as chopping up and hindering the delivery process. Characterizing it this way risks de-emphasizing some of the necessary logic of the architect's task process and the way in which it supports our professional judgment with respect to the standard of care. Concerning process support for professional judgment, consider the standard of care paragraph from the AIA B101 contract. It's section 2.2 in the contract. The architect shall perform its services consistent with the professional skill and care ordinarily provided by architects practicing in the same or similar locality under the similar circumstances. The architect shall perform its services as expeditiously as is consistent with such professional skill and care and the orderly progress of the project. The way in which the traditional delivery method supports professional judgment and the standard of care is not something to be lightly traded off, even when it does provide delivery method benefits for the owner and contractor. While various delivery methods will cover all legitimate alternatives to the design bid build approach, each must be evaluated against and satisfy the underlying relationship of the project process to ongoing support of professional judgment to the standard of care. Lastly, having focused on some of the wider applied reasoning and judgment concepts and skills in the societal and legal context section of the course, we'll now return to the working definition of professional judgment to look more closely at the second half of the definition. So professional judgment is defined as the paired use of two component areas, the applied reasoning and judgment skills, which employ the professional knowledge specifics. So the professional knowledge specifics, the second part of that professional judgment, are the items that we'll be focusing now in this context section of the class throughout the modules of the project and process context. In the last module context, we focused on that first part about applied reasoning and judgment skills, and now we'll be looking at the professional knowledge needed to complement those skills to provide us as professionals with a comprehensive professional judgment.